Hi, my name is Tom Harkins, and before I passed my state's real estate exam, I spent a decade in the test prep industry, helping people pass state licensure exams, making me uniquely qualified to help you pass your state's real estate exam. Hi, and welcome again to this week's edition of Test Taking Tips for Real Estate Professionals. Again, my name is Tom Harkins, and it's my goal to help you pass your state's real estate exam. And the last few weeks we've covered a couple important topics. The first topic we talked about was sleep, and the importance of sleep in increasing your mental acuity and making sure that you're at the top of your game the day that you take your exam. The last previous video, we also talked about there is an expiration date for the information that's in your head, and that we don't want you to take too long to take the real estate exam from the date of your graduation from your real estate school. But you also don't want to take it too fast. As I said last week, the first time pass rate for real estate students in the state of Pennsylvania is 45%. So that's terrible. And I think what's happening is you have basically a large group of people doing one of two things: running right outside of real estate school, taking the exam too quickly, and other people who graduate, they get busy with other things and they don't take it soon enough, and they wind up failing as well. So what I talked about last week was the campaign and how we are going to prepare for the exam in the future, setting it maybe a week or two after your graduation date, but not so far back that the information in your head has time to kind of atrophy. So we want to first know when we're graduating from school, and then try to set that date, I would say, anywhere between 10 and 14 days from your date of graduation. And then we want to set up a study plan for those last few weeks of school, plus those 2 weeks after school leading up to the exam, so that we are reviewing the material that we learned in school. And I want you to go back. There's all different types of classes. I realize some people can get through it in as little as 2 weeks by taking it every day. Some people only take it at night and it takes a couple of months. Some people take it on the weekends and it takes several months. So if you're in the class a short period of time, you probably don't need as much review time as somebody who only took the class on the weekends and are now taking the test, and maybe 4 months ago was when you started looking at the material. So I want you to, take into account how long you've been in school, and then go back to the earliest stuff first and work your way through the early stuff, because the stuff that you learned most recently should be the most fresh in your head. As we prepare for the exam, I want you to set up a space in your home, apartment, wherever you live, that is your study area. And I want you to, fill that area with everything that you might need to prepare for the exam. Pens, paper, laptop, course materials, even snacks. Water and healthy snacks are a great thing to keep you going. A lot of people, I want you to study in a set period of time as well. So if you have kids and you put your kids to bed, if it's that 1 hour you've got right after they're in bed, then every night for that period of time leading up to the exam, I want you to use that 1 hour of study time or 2 hours of study time consistently. And don't try to, fit it in, because you never will. You have to block off the time. This is my time to prepare for the exam, and then have your spot, pre-loaded with all your materials, because there's nothing worse, and this is a sin of many studiers. You sit down and then, Where's my pen? I need it on paper. And you wind up wasting time. So spend time preparing your area so that it's all ready to go. I want you to practice old exams. And I'm going to get into this in more detail in a future video. The best way to prepare for any test is to practice in the way that the test is going to demand. So if you had an oral exam, for example, you would want to prepare by answering questions orally. These exams tend to be multiple choice on a computer, and so you have to prepare on multiple choice questions. Where do you get tests? Well, there are two sources. One, many state real estate boards will post former exams or old exams that they're no longer using as study guides. So I want you to go onto the website for your state's real estate board. In Pennsylvania, it's under the Department of State, and they have sample exams there. And not only do I want you to take the exam, but whatever you get wrong, you need to look up and find out why you got it wrong. There are excellent materials available online that are preloaded practice exams that give you question after question after question. And not only that, if you get it wrong, it links you directly to the right answer. And when you've just gotten a question wrong, your brain is very much in that mode to learn. So if you're able to look, and a lot of these online tools will allow you to do this, is look at the correct answer to the question you just got wrong, you'll be able to remediate yourself right away. So it's like a baseball player. If he gets in great shape or she gets in great shape and never swings at a baseball, they're not going to get any better as a hitter. They might be in great shape, but a test taker has to prepare by taking as many test questions as possible. And like I said, there are great resources online. I'm going to do, I think, a whole video on the resources that are available, and there are several companies, and in a future video, maybe our next video, we'll get into that in more detail. You know, a lot of people say that they can cram for an exam, and you know, there's some famous scenes from movies like an Animal House where, you know, an entire semester of material is learned the night before the exam. But the truth is that just really doesn't work. As we talked about, you know, putting maybe a 2-week period after your graduation to prepare, you're taking, you're practicing the questions, the type of questions that you're going to see in the exam, and you're setting as much time as possible, an hour, 2 hours every night. But I don't want you to hammer away, you know, 2 straight hours with no breaks. It's been studied. Your brain really kind of starts to lose the ability to retain information after about 45 minutes. So for every hour of study, I want you to take at least a 15-minute break. Now, that break could be used in another way. Maybe you recite the material to yourself, or you go over some flashcards. But I don't want you to sit at a table hour for hour for hour, thinking that the material is being retained. For every hour, you should take a 15-minute break. Even just go out and get some fresh air. Whatever will sort of, you know, release that stress, that study stress, and get you ready to go back for your next 45 minutes. I want you to plan the day of the exam, and that goes all the way down to where are you going. Know where you're going. Know the directions. In some cases, I would even recommend that you pre-drive it if you don't know where you're going. There's nothing more stressful than having an exam at 10 o'clock in the morning, and you get lost, and then you get there late, and you're all kind of flustered, and now you're expecting to sit down and take this exam, and you're already sort of not at your best. So if you plan that day out, have whatever materials you might need for the exam, your directions. If you're going to use GPS, fine. You might want to check to make sure that there's a reasonable directions in the GPS before you go that day. And I want you to get there at least 10 to 15 minutes early so that you can sit down before you take the test, take a deep breath, and just sort of get relaxed, be confident in that you're ready to go because you've followed all these steps and you know what you're doing. Also, the night before, if you've studied all along, take off. There's such a thing as trying to be too sharp, and the night before the exam, people can tend to try to cram again and spend too much time. If you've done the prep work like we've discussed, take the night before off. You've earned it. You'll come at the material much fresher and in a good frame of mind. So good luck at the exam, and we'll talk again next week. Hey, if you found this video to be helpful, please click on the like and share and subscribe button below. And be sure to like and find me on Facebook and Instagram. Remember, like and share, like and share, like and share.